Hello and welcome to this edition of Weather Awareness. I'm meteorologist Don Luers. Well, we don't really want to think about it too hard, I guess, but we are nearing the peak of hurricane season for 2019. We certainly hope we don't have any hurricane or tropical storm dangers around here, but of course, this time of year it does pay to be prepared. We've certainly learned that with the history of the past recent years, especially with hurricanes Matthew and Florence causing so much damage. To help us try to mitigate something that could happen this year, maybe put ourselves in a little bit more confidence footing going into the rest of the hurricane season, I have with me right now Barbara Causey. Barbara Causey, a lot of you recognize as a longtime insurance expert here in the PD, and she's with Bradley Insurance, and she's here to share some of her insights on how you might be able to set your family in a better footing going into the rest of hurricane season. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you, Don.
I know you had a really busy stretch in the past few years with the hurricanes and tropical storm impacts we've had. Tell people a little bit what that's been like working in the insurance industry when you've had back-to-back storms that have been kind of history-making storms.
They were, in fact, history-making. We had water in places I had never seen water before. We had water at depths that I had never seen before. And I've been in the insurance business many years. We won't even go into the number, but many years.
You should be proud of that. I remember you talking at some of the meetings that I've joined you at in Florence, where the whole region gets together, and all kinds of awards being given out, and you always really shined as someone who's really been a leader.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. But 40 plus years, let's put it that way, in the insurance business, and I enjoy it. The biggest thing, though, with the storms over the last couple of years is it has made people more aware, I think, of what can happen. You know, we're aware of the aspects of what can happen, and I think even more so aware of what we need to do to prevent that from happening. There are numerous, you can buy insurance, but that's not going to do it if everything is destroyed. You can put stuff back, but it doesn't take away the loss that you feel.
Right, that's certainly true, especially when you look at it as a collective type thing. It sounds towns like Nichols and other areas that maybe not hit to that extreme, but neighborhoods that will never really quite be the same. People just have a little different feeling in their heart after something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the biggest thing to do, my thinking would be, is first off, make sure that you have coverage, the insurance coverage that you need. Flood insurance is available. You can purchase that. Make sure that you have wind and hail coverage, especially on your homes. Then make an inventory. You and I talked about this before. Make an inventory of your personal property items. And if you don't want to sit down and write down everything, videotape it. And then store that videotape somewhere off premises. At my agency, we have a secure location, or at least we think we do, and we'll be glad to store one for you. That's not a problem. And I'm sure other agents would do the same thing. They have fireproof boxes and those kind of things. So you can store that. Or you can do it digitally. We can put it on the computer, and it just would be there, stay there for you. And then at any point in time, we just roll it back off.
Yeah, you talked a lot about water, because Matthew and Florence were known so much for their flood damage, and of course that taught a lot of people lessons in what insurance covers and what it doesn't cover, and the difference between home insurance for basic losses and flood insurance for just the flood. And they're really two separate animals, right? Correct.
In most cases, flood is specifically excluded under your homeowner's policy. Now, there may be some exceptions out there, and I can't speak to those, but I know under the general policy, under most policies, it is excluded. But in Dillon County, flood insurance is available. And depending on where you are and your loss history, I'm thinking pretty reasonable.
Okay.
The biggest thing with that is just know how much coverage you need. There are several markets out there. The federal flood program will insure the house and the contents. There are private markets out there that will insure just like a homeowner's. You'll have coverage on the house, on the outbuildings, your contents, your other structures. A additional living expense. So if you have to live outside your home because of a covered loss, you've got some coverage there. Because under your homeowner's policy, that's not going to be covered if you have to live outside the home because of a flood.
Right. Right.
And I guess the biggest thing is, let's define flood. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Define flood. Flood is rising water. Everybody talks about the rain blowing in. Say we have a really bad storm and the windows get blown in or whatever, and it rains in. That's wind damage. That's wind and water. That's fine. But when the rain comes or the water backs up and it starts to rise, that becomes flood damage.
Right. And the cleanup operation can last a long time, so that coverage to provide you a place to live while you're being repaired can be a big item.
Yes.
Really make a hectic, chaotic situation a little bit more livable.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about, too, people focus on hurricanes, and rightfully so with Matthew and Florence, but we have day-to-day weather damage around here, too. I could think of storms just in the past few months where we've had tree limbs down and trees down, and even a couple of fires caused by thunderstorms, lightning strikes, or down lines. So even though the widespread disaster type things is every once in a long while, hopefully, every year somebody across the Dillon, Marion area is going to have weather losses every year.
Yes. And we do, and you deal with that. The first thing is to look at your policy. And if you don't understand it, call your agent and say, explain this to me. I have talked with people lately from an automobile insurance standpoint that have been buying insurance for 40 or 50 years and never knew what they were paying for.
Right.
They had no idea what each individual coverage on that policy means. And the same is true for homeowners. A lot of them have no idea what they're paying for.
They could be overcovered, undercovered, or anywhere in between.
Correct.
That's right. That's right. And if people do want to do a check and they're just not sure, a phone call to their agent is probably the best way to start, right?
Correct.
And what would happen when they call the agent?
Just simply ask, can you explain my policy to me? Can you tell me what's covered? If we have a storm and such thing happens, is that going to be covered? If so, what do I have to pay? What do I have to do? You want to know what your deductibles are. You want to know if there are specific deductibles for specific things. A lot of the companies now have a specific wind deductible, and in some cases that's a percentage of the coverage on your house.
I've heard that trend has been becoming more and more common.
And you also have issues with the age of your roof. Make sure that your agent knows how old the roof is. If some companies, I don't know if all do, but some companies give discounts for a new roof. So if you've replaced your roof or done any work on your house lately, make your agent aware of that. I tell them I have no way to know that you've added a extra 1,000 square feet in a new master suite into your home. I have no way to know that if I don't drive by and see it every day.
And if they never mention that, that's not covered.
Well, you'll be limited on your amount of coverage because you're not going to have enough.
Right.
That's all there is to it. I mean, if I insure it for 100,000 and you just added another 100 in a master suite, you're not going to have enough insurance. That's all there is to it.
Right. That makes good sense. So the biggest takeaways from people watching right now, what they should be doing if they want to make sure they're kind of in good setting, probably two things. Take an inventory, and if they have any questions or any concerns, call their agent.
Right. Make sure you know what you're paying for.
Very good.
The easiest way to do that.
Well, I hope people take that advice to task, and I know that you've seen over the past couple of years anyway, it certainly can make a difference when that storm does come, because I'm sure that with the impacts around here were so widespread, your agency and every other agency in town across both counties probably very, very busy.
We were.
Very good. Well, thanks all you do to keep us safe. Thank you for the mitigation your company does.
We try.
Very good. Barbara Causey, and she's with Brady Insurance. We'll be right back after this. If you are in the market for a car, truck, or SUV, you have to check out Parker's Used Cars. Parker's Used Cars is on Highway 38 South in Blenheim, located between Latta and Bennettsville. Tommy Parker, the owner, has built his reputation by selling high-quality vehicles for 29 years. You won't believe the selection. you'll have over 600 cars, trucks, and SUVs to pick from. Check them out online at parkersautos.com. That's parkersautos.com. Or call them at 843-528-3301. Parker's Used Cars in Blenheim, Highway 38. And welcome back to Weather Awareness. Of course, weather awareness almost always touches on agriculture at some point during the show. And right now we have Jim Allen with Uncle Jim's Southern Honey joining us. And you can't have agriculture without bees. And right now Jim's going to talk about the bee business and how things are this time of year, what's going on in the big business of trying to keep the crops and the whole agriculture business going with the proper pollination. How is the bee business?
Honeybee business is good right now.
Very good.
Honey sales are good. The honeybees are looking good overall. We're constantly having to manage the hives and keep going through them as we make up new hives along and along. We're going back through and making sure that any queen cells that we grafted and raised or put into nucleus hives have hatched. And even once they've hatched, we've got to make sure they successfully mated and are laying. So we're going back through and looking for eggs.
So people probably imagine that the business is real concentrated, where you're real busy and then there's nothing to do for a long time. But you're always got something to do as far as maintaining and keeping the bees healthy and going from one part of the year to the other. There's always something to fill that gap in between when the real big flourish of flowers out there, right?
That's right. So we're talking about the maintenance of the bees and the flowers. Well, there's a couple of different subjects there, Don. One is we've been treating for varroa mites. So,
I remember you saying that there's a few things going on that were kind of putting the bees in danger. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And you're talking about maybe some working solutions?
Yeah, so we make our own thymol patties, and there are different treatments for the varroa mites, but you got to treat for varroa mites or the colony just won't last. And this parasite, they're about big as a pinhead. You can see them if you look close. And they get on the side of the bee just like a tick on a dog's back. And they used to say they were sucking the blood out of the bees, and now they said what they're doing is actually chewing the fatty tissue of the honeybees. So they weaken them down and at the same time inflicting viruses when they bite into the bees.
I was going to say, it probably does just cause disease too.
That's right. That's exactly right. So what we're doing is making thymol patches, and thymol is actually found in your mouthwash.
Okay.
It's the most natural treatment, I think, out there that you can do, just the most close to organic as you could possibly be.
So you just place these patties in the hive? And
We do.
Okay.
And what we're using is thymol crystals, Crisco, little wintergreen oil to give it a little lump, and sugar, dry sugar, and we just mix this together. We got a recipe, we mix it together. We put the patties in there right over the brood chamber, and I think the way it works is the fumes eat the exoskeleton of the varroa mite out, and so that kills them, and they fall off the backs of the bees, and therefore the bees stay healthier. And it's very important to treat your bees for mites before going into the winter. But even now, during the summer, we want to treat them. We want to knock the mites back and just keep the overall health of the bees looking good. On the other subject of the flowers, we just came through a dearth. So a dearth is just where the nectar and pollen is just either very little to none coming in. And so we've had this hot, dry weather that we've had, and again, just I've seen the bees going looking for water, searching for it. Even at the home bee yard, we have bee yards we set up a couple of miles apart from each other. And at the home bee yard, just watching those around the chicken pen, the water buckets at the chicken pen, they're out there and they're just like hogs at the trough, just gathered around, and they'll drink a bucket of water like this in a day.
Wow.
It's just unreal, how much water bees consume in a day, and especially in this heat. And after a rain, you'll see very little bees at the buckets, at the water buckets. They're able to find it, out there everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but with the dearth, everything slows down. The bees are just really dependent on what they have stored in the hive, what they've stored earlier in the spring and the early summer. So now we've got soybeans and cotton blooming, and I'm not so sure just how much they're able to do anymore with the with the cotton and soybeans, the varieties that they have today, and I know there's different varieties, but I do think they're able to work the soybeans fairly well.
Okay.
But they're getting it from something now. Anyways, picked back up, and we're seeing nectar, fresh nectar in the comb.
Very good. And of course, the end result that most people like is just the product of the honey. And
Yeah.
that volume has been good?
Yes, the honey. We had a good honey crop this year.
Good.
Everything looked pretty good in the spring and early summer, and they hopefully will still make a little more now that the nectar's coming back in. We hope to make a little more honey, and we'll have should make a little on a fall crop. So about the time the goldenrod and aster start blooming, and that'll become the climax of the year.
Very good. Of course, we've talked many times about it, but the benefits, the health benefits of honey are much more peaked if you're eating local honey. So it's important to
That's
seek out
right.
the local honey. And on that subject, I've seen, it seems like you're doing a great job marketing, because I've seen your product in many
Thank you.
many locations.
Yeah.
I've seen it at the farmers market that's been involved in Dillon County. So good job there.
Thank you. Yeah, we're getting around. We keep adding on produce stands in stores and some restaurants. Wherever we think we can market the honey, wherever we think it'll sell.
That's right. So just remember the name, Uncle Jim's Southern Honey. You can't go wrong. By the way, you're right there on Lattice, so this is
That's
can't
right.
get more local for Dillon and Marion County than right there near the county line. We'll be right back after this. If you are in the market for a car, truck, or SUV, you have to check out Parker's Used Cars. Parker's Used Cars is on Highway 38 South in Blenheim, located between Latta and Bennettsville. Tommy Parker, the owner, has built his reputation by selling high-quality vehicles for 29 years. You won't believe the selection. You'll have over 600 cars, trucks, and SUVs to pick from. Check them out online at parkersautos.com. That's parkersautos.com. Or call them at 843-528-3301. Parker's Used Cars in Blenheim, Highway 38. And welcome back to Weather Awareness, talking about agriculture. We do have the farmers market in Dillon County, a growing sensation here that's getting more and more popular every month. And to join us right now and talk about that, we have Johnny Luers, president of the Dillon County Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you, Don. We're excited about the farmers market.
I am too.
Yeah, last month in July, we had Christmas in July, and you know, Santa took a vacation from the North Pole and just wanted to get down here and get some sunshine, and it was absolutely fantastic. We had a good time. We had some ornaments and everything like this, so everybody got into the spirit of Christmas. So we thank our vendors, and I thank our patrons for coming out, and of course we had a number of our vendors returning again this year. We have 3 more scheduled for the remainder of this year. We have August, September, and October.
Very good.
Once again, they're on the second Monday night. Our dates are August the 12th, September the 9th, and October the 14th.
But the second Monday.
The second Monday, and they go from 4 to 7. And we have a food vendor, so people can come and they can either eat with us, or they can take prepared food home already that night, so they don't have to go home hungry. And if they want to take something home to the family, there's something there they can take home. So it's a win-win situation.
That's right. They can take home their fresh produce and have a meal already prepared.
Exactly,
So it's a perfect
definitely,
combination.
yeah.
And I tell you what, the food vendors you've selected have been awesome.
They have been absolutely fantastic. This past month we had some seafood that was wonderful. The month before that we had barbecue and barbecue bacon wrapped chicken. Oh, it's absolutely to die for. Wonderful.
It has been good, and I think that probably works out great for the vendors too, because it gets their name out there to a new audience and helps them grow as well. So the farmers market's great, but you got other things going on too. This time of year, we must be thinking about the Taste of Dillon County.
We do. We have the Taste of Dillon County coming up. That'll be back in October again this year. It'll be October the 3rd. It'll be on Thursday night, the first Thursday night. We're going to host it again at Twin Lakes Country Club. And we'll probably have at least 7 to 10 vendors again. It will be a sit-down dinner once again. We're so excited about that. Ticket number will be limited once again to 100 to 125. Tickets have already gone on sale, and we are running close to our number again. I will be telling you the menu a little later as we go through. I don't want to, give out everything right now, but it will be at Twin Lakes Country Club. It will be on Thursday evening. We will start at 6 o'clock. It will be a sit-down dinner once again, and we have at least 7 to 10 vendors that have already committed. And I was speaking with somebody the other day. She said, if you go home hungry that night, it's your own fault.
That's the
She said,
truth.
we love it. She said, we have gone for years and years and years. She said, I absolutely love it. She said, I want to help this year. She said, I want to be a part of it. And everybody's excited
That's
about
great.
it.
And for folks that do want to get tickets that maybe aren't familiar, how would they go about getting
They
tickets?
can go ahead and call the chamber,
Okay.
and we have tickets available, and we will send out the menu ticket a little later, about 2 weeks beforehand, so they know exactly what the menu will be.
Very good. And there's one more topic I want you to cover. I've been part of this in the past. I know it's a really cool program, but it's coming up again to start, and that's Palmetto Leadership.
Palmetto Leadership will begin in September. We're actively taking applications now. Our new class begins in September. It's a 9-month program. We study everything about Dillon County. You may have lived in Dillon County all of your life, but there's something new every year you discover about Dillon County. There's so much that we have to offer. There's so many hidden jewels here, and things that we don't think about that other people see, and we offer so much, and people just, you don't always see what you have here, and you can experience it, and it's the best way to experience it is through our program, and we co-sponsor it with Clemson Extension, and they're very active in it, and your first day you get to know your classmates, and you get to know a lot about yourself.
That's pretty neat because I was going to bring up that subject that you just brought up, that you get to meet new people, new friends that will hopefully stay friends. I mean,
Exactly.
I've met people in my class that I still see that I probably wouldn't be seeing if I didn't go through that class. So I think that's pretty neat. And it's also a great way to, well, I guess people are so much in a routine where they do the same things every day and they see the same places every day, but they might be passing by something that never quite clicks. But if the Palmetto Leadership class takes them there, they go, wow, I never knew that was going on. So it's that type of thing.
Yeah, and there's like I said, we have so many jewels in Dillon County. People don't think about our state park. They don't think about
That was
how
what
much
I was
it matters.
thinking of, the
Yeah,
state park. I had been there before, but it had been a long time, and I had no idea the history and the potential with that lake coming back and everything. So coming back the way I told it was years ago, I'm excited.
And there's always a surprise for every class. There's something different that we do at every single class. There's always a project that we do. We've already chosen our project for this year, and we'll let our class know when our first meeting. So we're excited about that.
Now, is the class full, or is there still positions
There's
open?
1 or 2 spots left,
Okay.
so please call the chamber. We try to limit it to about 12 people, so you get a chance to
And
know
that's
each other
good.
and get a chance to know each other and work close together, and really experience the program.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for clicking on by.
Enjoyed it.
Johnny Lewis with the Dillon County Chamber. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Weather Awareness. We'll see you again next time.